The Rooftop cargo box has been an essential piece of gear in the camping setup. The extra storage space holds all the bulky items, makes it so much easier to stay organized, keeps clutter out of the sleeping area, and eliminates the need to shuffle things around, which is especially important if I roll into camp close to bedtime or I'm in an area where I don't want anything left outside overnight. But there was a big problem. In today's video, I'll share why I removed the Yakima Skybox, what I chose instead, and how it's completely changed and simplified my solo camping setup. Since becoming a widow, I've been rebuilding my setup for solo camping. One thing I quickly realized, I was unable to reach the cargo box to unlock it, and the lock was old and frustrating. Don't get me wrong, the Yakima Skybox has been a great companion to the Honda Pilot. It was a hand-me-down, well-loved, with several trips to Alaska and back long before we got it. All good things must come to an end, and for the Skybox, this was the end of the road. I thought about eliminating the rooftop cargo box altogether. It was pointless to haul around something that was no longer usable. But after my first solo camping trip, I very quickly realized it created too much clutter and chaos in the vehicle, and I really needed a solution for extra storage. And while I can leave some gear outside if I'm in a campground, sometimes I'm just not in a place where I want stuff sitting outside overnight, nor do I want to leave my things out in wind or rain. And gear Tetris inside the vehicle gets old really fast. I thought about a few other options. Hitch-mounted cargo boxes seemed promising, but I'd lose access to the back of the SUV unless it was on a swing arm. Plus, they're extremely heavy. And now that I'm solo, I don't have an easy way to take one off and store it when I'm not using it, or if I want to tow my camp trailer. The weight of the cargo box is just too much to add to the back of my trailer. It throws off tongue weight, and that's a recipe for disaster while towing. I had a trip planned to the high desert of Central Oregon, so with some help, the old cargo box was removed before I left home. Oregon doesn't have sales tax, so it was a good opportunity to explore options while I was there. I stopped by RacknRoll in Bend. Super friendly, helpful guys. I told them I wanted something easy, something I could reach, and actually open. If it wasn't usable, it was pointless. I also needed my moonroof to still be usable. I rely on it for ventilation at night, and I enjoy it while traveling. They showed me a few options and said, with the size of my SUV, the world is your oyster. After looking and testing all my options, they suggested the Motion 3 XL by Thule. They explained the lock mechanism would be the easiest for me to use and give me plenty of storage space. And boy, they were right. It had everything I needed, tons of space, and a locking mechanism I could actually use. They installed it on the spot, made sure it cleared the moonroof, and just like that, I was back on the road with a brand new beautiful cargo box. It looks great, works beautifully, and it's already made such a difference. So one of the things I really like about the Thule box and the Yakima box for that matter is that the key won't come out unless the box is closed and locked, which is a really nice safety. It opens on both sides, which is great. This side I have a little bit more trouble with because my left hand is weak because I had an injury from a few years ago. So I need it two-handed, and then it just lifts up. It's on hydraulics. And there we go. So it's got a nice grab handle, but because I'm short, I added just an extra bungee. I love that my clam shelter fits inside. It's been really great The clam shelter used to fit in the foothold in the second row, and it fit perfectly, crossways in the car. But it was better as a two-person job to get it out, and then things would kind of be stacked on top of it. So with this box being a lot longer, it fits in there perfectly, and I love that. I don't leave it in here all the time because I don't want to damage the fabric. I have cords because I can't reach at the far end. So the clam shelter, it's okay, I can reach it here. But because I can't reach, and if things slide, I need to be able to pull them. And so I have these bungee cords with a carabiner, and everything is attached to attachment points. They're meant for ratcheting straps, which I can't use by myself, but I thought, well, I can certainly utilize them for bungee straps. This bag holds my table, and this is just a shoe tray from IKEA to use as a floor pan of sorts to stand on if I take an outside shower. It's nice and lightweight, but it, you could use it for all kinds of things, but that's what that is. Moving to the front, this is a pop-up shelter for the outside potty. It's by Wolfwise. It's a little bit tricky to get folded back up, but it kind of folds origami style into a nice round circle. So that's in there. And then I have a nice floor mat that I don't always use. I can if I want. And then this is my extra folding chair. Somebody had mentioned that it would be a good idea to have a second chair out, and I think that that's a great idea. I feel very comfortable where I'm at. I'm in a campground with a host, and I don't feel uncomfortable being alone here. So I don't feel it's necessary, but if I'm ever in a place where I need a second chair. Also, this one is it folds up really small. I don't know if you can see that. Everything's kind of tied down, but it folds up really small. So if I want to take it down to the river or to the beach, I've got a nice lightweight chair to use. So that fits in the front. Then on top of that is my floor mat. And on top of that goes the potty shelter. And this, I'll have to show this another time, but what this is, it's one of those kind of potties that's like a bedside commode that use a plastic bag, but it's nice for outside. It's nice and sturdy, and when you want something that feels like an actual potty, that comes in very handy. So, and that fits on top there. My table's outside, obviously, right now, so when I go to put the table away, it'll go in the bag with that little tray, and it just sits right up on top there like that. What I really like is on the other side, the only thing that goes on the other side is my chair and Riley's folding bed, and then I've got a lot of room for my kayak paddle and the air pump for the kayak and my life jacket and things like that, which is excellent. So really happy about that. And then to close it, so there's 3 points that need to latch. And if you don't have all of those that click, you can't get your keys out, which is a good safety thing. So it's a two-handed operation, but it's just that easy. Okay, so now we're on the driver's side. This one I don't need two hands because my right hand's a lot stronger, which is nice. So this side is actually easier for me to access. Again, it's just and then it pushes up on those hinges, and it works really great. So you can see on this side I have, with the exception of my chair, so this is the bags, for the chair that I'm using, and the bag for Riley's bed. This is just like a 3-legged stool that I use for a footrest. And it just fits right here in the front. And then my chair fits right here. Riley's seat fits kind of behind it. And then I'll have all of that room for my kayaking gear, which I'm really happy about to have that. I have a place for it to be stowed and be able to bring that along with me. I actually had to call the guys at RacknRoll because I got back to my campsite and wasn't able to lock it. And They were super nice and walked me through. So you just need to make sure that you don't have any gear up here in the front that, up in the front area that would be getting in the way of the locking mechanisms. But I'm just going to show you, if you don't have all of them latched, let's see if I can do it. See that red mark there? That's telling you that it's not all latched. So you're not going to be able to get your key out. See? So it's not properly latched. So if you have that red mark, then you have to start over by unlatching it. And then use two hands to give it a good. And then when you hear that click, click, you're good. You can get your keys out. There. Like that. Honestly, it's one of those upgrades that just makes everything easier. No more gear shuffle, no more frustration, and best of all, my clam shelter fits inside. So that's one less thing taking up space inside the SUV. In my next video, I'll share more of my solo trip to Central Oregon and why it's such a significant part of my grief journey. Oh, yeah, that happened too. Thanks so much for being here, and I'll see you next time.